Hey everybody, I'm here to give you the summary of the teaching of our family meeting number 2, where we're continuing on with our discussion of the 4 G's, if you might remember. We talked about the first 2 last week, gather and grow. Hey, gathering and worship is what it means to be a part of the family of God. They did it in the first century. We need to continue to do that in the 21st century, even in the midst of a pandemic. And we challenged you in last week's teaching to prioritize meeting weekly in worship, whether it's virtually online or in person safely on our campus. And then also to, if you are meeting or gathering virtually in worship, to treat it like your weekly Super Bowl, to actually hunker down and push aside all the distractions and really engage in that worship experience that we provide online. And then grow. We talked about how a challenge for you to invite 1 to 7 people in your circle to discuss the Christmas curriculum that we're beginning a week from today. And I hope that you would take that challenge. If you want to do that, go to hickorygrove.net/Christmas. And at the top of that page, we have a form that you can fill out. We would love to encourage you, equip you in every way to be a part of that movement. And so that's gathering, gathering and worship. That's what it means to be a part of the family of God, is we gather and worship together, sort of in a larger group. And then we grow in small groups. And we see this in the first century. I want to read to you that passage from Acts chapter 2, starting at verse 42, where we see this beautiful, beautiful portrait of the first century church. It says this, "And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And awe came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done through the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all as any had need. And day by day, attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved." So this is such a great portrait of the first century church, but this is also a great blueprint for the 21st century church. You see them gathering and worship in the temple courts. You see them growing in small groups, meeting in homes and breaking bread together. And you also see them pulling their resources together and meeting the needs of all the people. That's why the third of the 4 G's, we have gather, grow, and then we also have give. Specifically, give of your time, talent, and treasure. That's what we are challenged to do. That's what we're blessed to get to do if we are part of the family of God. And when you think about it, all 3 of those things are things that God has given us. We're blessed to have them. He's given us the time that we have, the talent that we have, and yes, even the income that we have. So during this pandemic, we've almost had to go creative and technological, but also old school at the same time. One of the ways we've challenged people or encouraged people to give of their time is just simply walk in your neighborhood and pray for your homes and place a door hanger on those doorknobs that say, "You are not alone." That's our Pray and Go ministry. When it comes to talent, we've seen people do chalk art on the sidewalks to encourage people. We've seen people post their music online. We've seen people write encouraging notes to others. These are talents that can bless other people. And then giving, we have seen the income for Hickory Grove, where 30% of it came from online giving before the pandemic. Now 60% of it comes online. I'm so thankful for the creativity and for the determination of the family of God to continue to give even during a pandemic. I even knew of people that would make a special drive to the church just to take their offering to the secure drop box that we have. It's been so awesome to see that, and we need to see that continued so that we can continue to bless Northern Kentucky and build God's family. So giving of your time, talent, and treasure, that's one of the things that we need to do to be a part of the family of God. But not only that, not only do we gather and grow and give, but then lastly, we go. We go, specifically, we go invite and invest in someone. And this means, hey, sure, you can invite someone to be in that discussion group for the Christmas series. Haha, shameless plug. But it also means that you go and just invite someone into your life. You just say, hey, would you want to do coffee sometime? You can socially distance do that, or just taking time to have that conversation with that neighbor at the end of the driveway or that coworker that you barely know. And it's about also giving an opportunity for someone to hear your story and you hear their story. And eventually, the story of Jesus Christ and the impact he's made in your life. This is a very simple, organic thing that we need to be doing regularly in order to be a part of the family of God and in order to fulfill our purpose to bless Northern Kentucky and to build God's family. Hey, and not only are we going and investing in someone who may be far from God, it's also about investing in someone who's a believer. Maybe they're a young, newer believer, but they've been following Jesus not as long as you have. Man, we need mentors right now. Who's going to take up the mantle of the heroes that we know of that just really stood firmly for the gospel of Jesus Christ and for what the Bible teaches, really loving the lost like Jesus did and standing for truth like he did. Well, in order for that to happen, all of us together need to be investing in other people to help them to grow in the knowledge of the Lord and to live out their faith. So we need to do these two things. We need to be about giving of our time, talent, and treasure, and going and inviting and investing in someone. It's because of that I encourage you to potentially pray one of these three things, if not all three of them. First, ask God to adopt you into his family. Hey, if you've not done that yet, that's where you need to start. To take that big step of faith and say, wow, I didn't realize that God has all of this purpose for me in my life. You want to be a part of this? All you have to do is ask. Romans 10:13 says, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. If you want to be a part of God's family, all you have to do is ask. Secondly, ask God to help you loosen the grip on your time, talent, and treasure. And then thirdly, ask God to show you someone to invite or invest in. With God's help, you can begin to live out your God-given purpose right here and right now as you continue to be a part of the family of God.